Alright everybody, welcome back to another quality Fiend Gaming European Styles video, and today we will be talking about the best idea groups in the game. So the way it's going to work, we're just going to rank them at 10 to 1. We're going to base it off of the modifiers you get straight up from the idea group, but we're also going to talk about policies. Policies are you can just combine two idea groups together to make a policy. If you have a policy enacted, you can only enact 5, but if you have one enacted, you can get these powerful modifiers like seen here. Some policies obviously are much better than other ones, as you can tell just by looking at this. But yeah, some idea groups have specifically very good policies with basically everything else. So that's why we're going to include policies on this. They do cost a mark point per month, but they're still very useful. Without further ado, let's get into number 10, which is going to be administrative ideas. Bit of an interesting idea group, very specific to certain countries, whether you should be taking this or not. Especially Burgundy and Sweden have good times with this idea group. Mainly because of the insane bonuses it gives to mercenaries, as we see here. 25% more available mercenaries, 25% less maintenance cost, 25% straight up buying cost. Very good stuff there. So countries that already have good mercenary bonuses, such as Burgundy or Sweden, like we just said, good choice to take this idea group. I'll see a lot of people taking this idea group as Ottomans because of the core creation cost. Basically, just things make the cost even cheaper. The core stuff. Personally, I don't do that as Ottomans, but I can see why people would. Interest per annum -1. Not going to be that useful, I'm afraid. That doesn't really ever help. Interest per annum, not a great modifier there. Possible advisors +1, that's pretty decent. If you're looking for a specific advisor and you just can't find them, well, you have more of a chance to if you take this, I guess. That's what this does. And 10% admin tech cost. Pretty good, especially if you take this idea group early on and you get this for like the whole game. That's really useful actually. Tech cost -10% is a lot. Let's look at this number of states +5. Not that useful unless you're, again, the Ottomans or Russia. Maybe you're like running out of states or something like that. Get 5 more by taking this. Policies. Policies with admin ideas aren't that good. Besides maybe with trade. But there are better ones than that. I wouldn't have that one enacted. Plutocratic ideas is pretty good with the policy with that, but again, you're not going to see plutocratic ideas a lot because basically, plutocratic ideas is only available to republics, and it's pretty unlikely you're actually going to be a republic, unless you're like Venice. That's the only country I see played a lot that is a republic. But yeah, I mean, that can be decent. But yeah, not the best policies, and that's why our ideas is ranked at number 10. Let's move on to number 9, which is going to be naval ideas. Bit of a weird one here, naval ideas. A lot of people don't think this is good, but I would disagree with that statement. Obviously, if I'm putting them on this list, I think they're pretty good. I do find a lot of people saying naval ideas is not as good as maritime ideas. Even like experienced players will say this. I don't agree with that. I don't think maritime ideas is better than naval ideas at all. Maybe this 50% naval force limit modifier, but like if you're a naval power, you've probably already taken exploration ideas. There's that. Here it is, and you already get some more force limit modifier from that, so it's not that useful. Obviously, you're going to be taking a naval idea if you're a naval power. You're not going to take this as like Prussia or something like that. Or maybe you can take this as Prussia, but definitely not as like Austria or Poland or Russia, something like that. I don't think maritime ideas is better than naval ideas. Let's look at why. Naval leader shock, naval leader fire. Obviously, you know what this means. Your admirals are better, which means you'll get better dice rolls, which means you'll do better in the battle overall. Let's compare this to maneuver. Maneuver really doesn't mean much with ships. It just means you can have a better chance at capturing ships, I think. Fire is the most important for ships. Shock does some good stuff too, if you're looking at that. But I think the best modifier you get from naval ideas is definitely the 20% heavy ship combat ability. Bit of a long one there. That's insane. If you're fighting in open sea, really, pretty much all your damage is going to be getting dealt by heavy ships. And if they're doing 20% more, I mean, that's crazy. They're just doing a lot better. So that's nice. And if you are fighting inland sea, you get the 25% galley combat ability, which means your galleys just do better, and your heavy ships. So you'll just do a lot better in there. 50% morale of navies, really nice. Works the same as morale of armies. Your navies just do better. The crew on the ships want to stay in there longer. They don't flee from the ships or whatnot. I guess that's what that could mean. Yeah, overall your ships are a lot better. You also get 100% prestige from naval battles. You don't see very many naval battles actually happening, so that's not that crazy. Sailor recovery speed, same thing as manpower recovery speed. That's not really that useful. You probably have a lot of sailors saved up. Policies here. Oh, actually, you get 10% ship durability. That's good. That's actually a lot. Basically, what ship durability is like if ships have more armor, they can withstand more damage. Policies with naval ideas, not that good. Wouldn't say this is very useful. Besides maybe the one with influence ideas, but don't take influence ideas, please. It's not good. Wouldn't recommend. Economic ideas is very good with. I noticed 10% production efficiency, 10% goods produced. That's very useful. I don't know if you should actually have that enacted or not, but that's naval ideas. That is number 9. Finished. Moving on to number 8. It's gonna be religious ideas. Religious ideas very weird. I see a lot of people say humanist ideas is better than this, than religious, but I disagree with that, obviously. And let's look at why. First off, religious ideas, the first thing you get from this is Dave's Vault, which gives you a permanent casus belli against countries that aren't your religion. So that's not that useful. You should just be making claims to take that. It also makes it it doesn't cost Diplo points to take land in a peace deal. But once again, that's not really that useful. Like it's not a big deal. Moving on, let's look at missionaries +1. That's good actually. That's really useful. You can use that to your advantage if you're big and you want to convert a bunch of land, like the Ottomans. Maybe that's a good example. I don't know what happened here. The Ottomans, Russia, got a bunch of diverse land going on here in terms of religion. Yeah, it's going to be tough to convert that with only 1 missionary, so +1, there you go. Convert it 2 times as fast. Stability cost modifier. That's it's not. I don't find that useful. I find it very rare. You're actually going to boost your stability manually. But 25% is good. You know, 1/4 of the cost. But, you know, 3/4 of the cost. Yeah, what am I saying there? But like that's not like I said, that's not that useful. I don't find myself manually boosting stability very often. But who knows? Maybe you'll find a use for that somehow. 3% missionary strength. This is where religious ideas hit the peak, I'd say. That's insane. You just convert stuff much faster. You'll be doing it in like 10, 12 months, like a year. That's actually very good. Once again, especially if you're the Ottomans or Russia and you got a bunch of land you need to convert, there you go. You'll do it faster. Devoutness, this changes actually based on what your religion is. But since we're a Catholic country here, we'll just talk about the Catholic stuff to it. Tolerance of the true faith +1. That's not really that useful. That's actually pretty pointless, I'm going to be honest. Yearly papal influence +2, though. That's very good. Papal influence. The papacy gives you a bunch of bonuses. If you're the cardinal, you can get all of these here. I'm not going to list all these off. You can just look at them. Just pause the video or whatever if you want to actually look at what this is. But as you can see, they're pretty useful. Not going to lie. They're pretty good. You also get a bunch of stuff over here. bunch of other really good stuff that cost a lot of papal influence, but they're good. So that's very good. That's very useful to have. 1 plus yearly prestige. Prestige is one of the best modifiers in the game. Obviously, you just want as much prestige as you can get. Look down there, you can see what effects you get from your current prestige. Obviously, we only have 11 right now, so these aren't that crazy. But if you're up at like 50, 90, something like that, you're gonna get insane bonuses from prestige. Trust me. So you want to keep that as high as possible. Let's be honest. And the last thing here, Inquisition. Missionary strength plus heretics 2%. So against heretics, you can get 5% in total, which is insane. Again, it just converts it a lot faster. Culture conversion cost here bonus. That's not useful anymore because you can just promote cultures by spending Diplo, but yeah, that's not that good. The reason religious ideas is actually ranked this highly though is because of some good policies. Particularly with quantity ideas. 10% morale, very good. Morale speed recovery, that's not that useful. That could be useful depending on the situation, but yeah, that's a really good policy there. You should definitely have that enacted in a war. So I think that finishes off religious ideas. It just is better than human cities. You can take a look here. I'm not going to explain this too much, but the things you can get from religious ideas, just they just cancel out the humanicities ones, and are better than them. So there you go. You can take a quick look at this. I'm not going to go over this at all. So that was number 8. Let's take a look at what number 7 is, and it's innovative ideas. Very useful idea group here. 1% prestige decay. Like we said earlier, prestige is really good, and if it's going down slower, it just means you're going to have more of it. Really, that's a good thing, obviously. Let's move on to mercenary maintenance, 25%. Don't find myself using mercenaries that much. Big countries can use them a lot if they have a lot of money. Pretty easy where you just get troops with no manpower. That's what mercenaries are. 25% maintenance on them that's actually quite useful because mercenaries have a lot of maintenance. It's like double or something like that of regular troops. 25% mercenary maintenance modifier just saves you money. That's all it really does. If you have mercenaries, obviously. Tech cost minus 5% across the board for admin, diplo, and military ideas. Not ideas, tech. 5% bonus to that. It's not crazy, but since it's 5% to all of them, that's good. That's definitely worth getting. 10% institution embracement cost. 10% money for that cost. That's not that crazy. That's not that much. If you're a really big country, you could maybe that makes a difference, but like it doesn't really. So, but you should still get this because of the tech cost. That's good. Possible virus +1. I think we already talked about this with another idea group. It's not that good unless you're looking for a specific advisor, like you want a discipline guy. You just don't have one. Well, maybe you'll have one now. But yeah, not that useful. 10% reduced inflation cost. This looks good, but honestly, I don't think you are going to manually reduce your inflation. That doesn't really happen that much, personally. It does happen a bit, and here you go. If you're actually doing that, well, you get 10% cost. I believe that costs 75 admin power, so 7.5 less. It's not that crazy, obviously. Negative 0.05 monthly war exhaustion. If you're in a big war, this isn't going to help at all, because you're going to have so much war exhaustion, it's not going to actually help you. Because negative 0.05 a month isn't a lot. It takes a long time for that to actually get to -1. And even -1 isn't that important. Like, it's not a big deal. So yeah, in small wars this could be useful, where you're not actually taking more exhaustion. And especially when you're at peace, this is probably going to find this the most useful. Just coming out of a big war. Leaders without upkeep, very good, especially if you're a big nation. If you have a lot of armies, you're going to need more generals, and well, here you go. You get an extra one from this. 25% advisor cost. That's not maintenance, that's actually just straight up cost, so that's not that crazy. Advisors don't really cost that much. if you need level 3 advisors and they're really expensive, well, you're probably not taking a level 3 advisor unless you're really big. And if you're really big, you're going to have enough money anyways for that, so this isn't really that important. One of the reasons I actually put this as high up as 7th was because of this policy you get with quality ideas that's down there near the bottom. 20% infantry compatibility. That's really good, especially if you're Prussia or Sweden. You can get that up to 50, depending on what else you take. Quality ideas. Yeah. Up to 50%, your troops are just 50% better. That's actually a lot. That's the most you can get. Besides for Commonwealth and Cav compatibility, something like that. But yeah, that's obviously insane. That's really good. You should always have that enacted in a war. I believe that finishes off innovative ideas. So let's move on to quantity, which is number 6. Quantity ideas, despite popular belief, or maybe not, but this is just what I find. If you're a small nation, you don't want to be taking quantity ideas. It's not that useful. Quantity ideas is better the bigger you are, because of the modifiers you get here. 50% national manpower modifier. Say you're like France, you got 100k manpower, somewhere around the 1600s, maybe even 1500s. You get 150, so that's a lot. One thing in wars that kills a lot of people is because they have no manpower. Well, here you go. You're probably not going to run out of manpower as fast. It'll still happen. It just won't be as fast, which means that's a big advantage. Maybe your opponent doesn't have that much manpower, and you can kill them because of that. Who knows? Let's move on here. 20% manpower recovery speed. That's just basically how fast this number goes back up over here. That's good. That's a good idea. It doesn't look that good to someone who doesn't actually know what this means, obviously, but that's pretty useful. 10% regiment cost. Not that good. Eventually, depending on how many regiments you build after you take this, this could save you a lot of money. But for infantry, this saves you like, I don't know, like a ducat, depending on what happens per infantry regiment. That's not that crazy, so it's not that useful, but not bad, obviously. Nothing here is bad. 10% land maintenance modifier, another one that's better the bigger you are, because the bigger you are, the more armies you're gonna have, which means the more maintenance you're gonna have, which means the more money you're gonna cost per month. So this is really useful. So you got like 100 ducats a month on land maintenance. Well, now you only have 90, so that's good. 10 more ducats a month. That's really good. What is this? Available mercenaries plus 25%. Really good, especially if you go on like admin ideas and maybe even innovative. That just helps more with mercenaries. Pretty good stuff here. Garrison size plus 25%. I don't really know what this does, to be honest. Like, I know it, obviously it gives you 25% more people in the fort, but I don't know what modifier that actually will give you. I think it might make siege phases happen slower, but that's not really that good. I actually don't really quite know what this does. 10% land attrition. All this means you can just fit more troops in provinces, which is good. You want to be able to do that. You don't be suffering attrition in your provinces or in other people's provinces in a war. But yeah, let's get rid of this. That's good. That's a good thing. Not insane or anything. Not like this or this, which is their bonus, which is really what makes quantity ideas. Quantity ideas is this. 50% land force modifier. You can get 50% more troops out there if you can afford it. Maybe you can't afford this. It's a lot, but you get more troops, which is really what quantity ideas is all about, getting more troops. And this is what does it for you. For policies, there are some decent ones with quantity. Specifically the religious ideas one. I think we talked about that earlier. The economic ideas ones is, I don't know why I said that like that. The economic ideas ones is kind of good, but I wouldn't have that enacted a lot, or ever, to be honest. I don't know why I said that was good. It's really not. But yeah, the one with religious ideas is very useful, and the one with trade ideas is okay too, because it's a diplo. It takes away a diplo per month, and as everyone can probably agree, diplo ideas are the worst. Well, not the worst, but they're the least best monarch point. Put it like that. So yeah. Oh, the innovative one is kind of good too. 20% fort maintenance is good if you have a lot of forts. Garrison size again. I don't know if that actually does anything. If it does do something, it doesn't do very much. So I think that's it for quantity. What was that? Number 6. Number 5. Let's move on. And in my opinion, number 5 is trade ideas. Great idea group here. You should be taking this every game. It doesn't matter who you are. England or Spain, Prussia, Italy. Like, you should be taking this, and no matter who you are, it just gets you more money. The base stuff here will gain you more money, if that makes sense, than the base stuff in economic ideas, which is kind of weird actually to think about, but it does, because trade gets you more money than 10% production efficiency and 10% tax. Where is that here? But yeah, let's look at it before we get on to economic ideas. That's a good trade. 20% trade power, that just gives you, well, yeah, it says it for itself. It gives you more trade power in provinces, which gives you more trade power in the node. So you can just extract more money from the node or collect more. That's good. That's a really good idea, actually. Merchants +1. Obviously, all of that merchant does, it just gives you more influence in that node. But that's really good. You can just have another node where you've got more power in by using a merchant. Trade range, 25%. Probably the least best out of all of these, but not bad, obviously. 25% trade range, you can just go into more nodes, really. Which is good, especially if you're in like Asia and you're Great Britain and you want to transfer trade there. There you go, you could do that. Where were we? There. Okay, 10% trade efficiency. Works the same way as tax and production efficiency. You just make more money from trade. 10% more. Actually, it's not quite that, but it's basically that. So that's good. It's a good modifier to get. Get another merchant. I already talked about this. What this means. 25% trade steering. That just increases how much you can steer out and how good you can do it. That's really good. 25%. That's good. Good bonus. Caravan trade power. I think this is the same thing as trade steering, but just inland. Like knows like the Rhineland or Vienna, Krakow. That just helps with that. So that's not as important as this, but it's good depending on who you are. Another merchant here from this. Really good. You get an extra 3 merchants. So you're up to 5. If you're a kingdom, you're up to 5. Trade policies. Very good policies. Some of the best policies in the game. Quantity ideas, goods produced modifier. That's kind of decent. I wouldn't put that on there though. There are better ones than that. 20% trade efficiency with admin ideas or with quality ideas. Pretty good. Maybe put them both on. That's a bit risky, but they're Diplo. We said before, Diplo. Monarch points not as important as the other ones. You get extra merchant and better trade steering with defensive ideas, which we're going to talk about in a second. Spoiler alerts. Pretty useful stuff there, but the best one, in my opinion, is the one with economic ideas, which gives you 10% trade efficiency and 10% production efficiency, both in one thing. It's really good, especially in the late game. If you're starting to make a bunch of money from production, like with manufactories or something like that. You find that very useful. Yeah, a ton of good policies here with trade ideas. That's why it is number 5. Let's look at number 4, which I think I said a second ago was defensive ideas. Defensive ideas is good for a couple things, but a couple of really good things. Starting off with the yearly army tradition. Army tradition is definitely one of the best modifiers you can get in the game. It helps you so much. Look at this. I have 5 army tradition. I'm getting 1% morale. So once you get that to like 100, you get to like something like 20% morale. It's crazy. Manpower recovery speed, army recovery, morale speed, siege ability, all that stuff is insane. And of course, most important of all, you get better generals from this. And we talked about this a while ago. Generals can be the difference in battle. If you have a general and your opponent doesn't, you're just gonna win. Obviously, that's dependent on a couple things, but it's not that simple. But yeah, so much better if you just have more armor tradition than your opponent. Oh yes, 15% or 13% morale. really good. More morale is really good. I say morale is morale, discipline, and tactics, the 3 key military bonuses you get that will decide the battle. Probably morale, one of the more important ones out there. Discipline. 15% morale of armies is crazy. That's almost as much as the 20% from France's and Prussia's ideas. Really useful stuff here. 1+ lane leader maneuver. Not that useful. Maneuver is definitely the least important out of the 4 pips you get from generals, but you know, maybe that -1 river crossing that you get from this maybe will help you in battle, but no, I don't think it will. 10% land maintenance modifier. We went over this a while ago. Just your troops cost less per month. If you stack this up with like this and this, 30% is a lot actually. So yeah, good stuff there. 10% fort maintenance. Another thing, I think we went over this a while ago, but fort maintenance is, I guess, it's not useful unless you have a lot of forts, which you might have a lot of forts as France or Italy. The Ottomans, you definitely will. So that could be useful. Fort defense plus 20% is really good actually. That just makes the sieges go by a lot slower, so that helps. 33% reinforced speed. That could mean a big difference. I don't know why this keeps changing. That could mean a big difference here. If you just lose a battle and the army goes in for the kill, this could save it. You can save it because it reinforces way faster. Might not get stack wiped if you take this. It's really all that does. Your army just becomes full faster. Let's look at the last thing here. 25% land attrition. Again, same thing with this. You just can fit more men in provinces, which is always a plus in my books. And +1 attrition for enemies is not useful unless you're like a northern country. Very useful if you're Russia or Sweden. And the enemies are just coming in and just getting wrecked by the winter attrition. Policies. Defensive ideas doesn't have good policies. Gonna be honest. Besides for the one with like trade ideas, but that's a military idea, so you don't really want to take that. Or military policy, I mean. There's another good one here somewhere. I forget which one it is. Actually, I don't think there is another good one. Innovative ideas. Yeah, there is. Fort maintenance and fort defense +10 each. Or -10 for maintenance, obviously. Don't know why that would be +10. That's pretty good, but I wouldn't take that one. There are better military policies you can take. I think that's the end for defensive ideas, which was number 4. So let's move on to the top 3 now. And starting off, number 3 is economic ideas. 10% tax, 10% production. You just make more money from those 2 things. Very simple. 10% construction cost. You'll save a lot of money from this actually. If you're just making manufactories and forts a ton, this will save you a lot of money. +10 yearly inflation reduction. That's good actually. If you're taking a lot of money in peace deals, or if you have gold mines, that helps quite a bit. Not that much, but quite a bit. Interest per annum. Talked about this like at the start of the video. I don't think this is that useful personally, but maybe if you get this analyst, it could be useful. I don't really know. -0.05 monthly autonomy change. That's actually very useful if you're conquering lands a lot, like the Ottomans or Russia will, or maybe even Italy. You could use this to your advantage. Provinces just get autonomy faster. You just get less autonomy faster. That's all that does. Obviously, you want the least amount of autonomy possible in provinces to make them more efficient. 10% land maintenance modifier. You guys know what this does by now. Talked about this like 2 different times. This, and this together, 30%. That's crazy. You save so much money from that if you're a big nation, which hopefully you're aiming to become in your game, no matter who you're playing as. Yeah, we already talked about this. 25% goods produced modifier. Actually, that's only 20%. That's really good. That affects production and trade because it boosts the trade power per province because it's better, produces more goods. This is really useful if you got a lot of good production resources, like cloth or iron or silk or something like that. But the main thing here that makes economic ideas as good as it is the policies. There's so many good policies. But I unpause the game. I don't know how that happened. What were we talking about? Policies for economic ideas. There we go. There's so many good policies for economic ideas. Offensive, you get 10% artillery compatibility, which is really good. Really good stuff. Artillery is so important in the late game. 5% discipline for quality, really nice. The one there with the naval ideas is good. The one with trade ideas is really good. You should be taking that one. Even the one with like diplomatic ideas is good. I don't know why you'd take diplomatic ideas, but maybe you did. And maybe you want this policy. The one with quantity ideas is really good. Plutocratic ideas, probably not going to be taking plutocratic ideas, but that's good too. Like there's so many different options you can take here that are all good. So yes, take economic ideas. Just do it. Just take it. Make sure you take it, and make sure you get a couple policies in there with some other idea groups. That is the end of economic ideas. Moving on to number 2, which is offensive ideas. Definitely the best land military ideas there is. Better for land than quality, because quality is more balanced out with this stuff with naval. But I'm sure you've guessed by now, quality is number 1. But let's talk about offensive ideas. Number 2, land of your shock and land of your fire. Same thing as this with naval ideas. You just get your generals are better, which means you get better dice rolls, which means your troops do better in battle. Which is the key to winning battles. Your troops doing good. So yeah, especially if you have high army attrition, you'll be getting better generals. That's good. Recruitment time, 10%, not that good. Unless you're like really struggling and you're in a war, need a bunch of troops really fast. Well, this will certainly help with that. 100% prestige from land battles. That's really good. I said earlier, prestige is very important. Winning battles will get you more prestige, and 100% more is a lot. Get a bunch more prestige that can start stacking up. Especially if you have decay, it'll stay up there. 20% siege ability, that's really good. Siege progress is faster. You'll find that very important. Land force limit modifier, really nice. You just get more troops out there if you can afford it. Obviously, you get more troops without going over your force limit, so you save money in that way. But more troops is better, obviously, especially if they're good troops. Last thing here, 5% discipline. Discipline, very important. 5% more of it, your troops just do more damage. That's what discipline is. They do damage more. 5% more, pretty useful. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it's good. 5% more damage is very useful. Bonus here, recover army morale speed. Not that good. 5%. It's not really that useful. Policies with offensive ideas are also kind of weak. Besides for the one with the economic ideas, where you get artillery compatibility, you should always have the one enacted in war. That one is very nice. Do a ton more damage. So yes, let's move on to number 1. Obviously, number 1 is quality ideas. So what else would it be here? 10% compatibility on every land unit, and also on, actually no, not on ships, but 10% compatibility on every unit. That's crazy. Your troops are just so much better now. Well, obviously, it's quality ideas. Obviously, they're going to be better in quality. So yeah, see, if we combine this with some other compatibilities, you can get infantry to like 50%. Cav up to like, I think as Poland, you can get cav to like 73, something crazy like that. Just insane, 73%. Yearly army attrition +1, we already talked about how important army attrition is. +1 every year. Really good, really useful stuff. Basically, this will just mean that your army attrition doesn't go down as fast. Doesn't actually really make it go up anymore. It just makes it go down slower. Ship durability, I think we talked about this before with something else over here. Your ships just like have more armor, they can withstand more fire, more damage. So they last longer, they do more damage since they're alive, you know. 10% morale on all ships. Talk about this one too, actually. Morale works the same way as morale with land units, so obviously morale with landers is really important. Probably really important for ships too, which it is. And yeah, there you go with that. Pretty basic stuff. 25% naval attrition. That's not that crazy, unless you're like out in the Atlantic or the Pacific. Your ship just won't take as much attrition. But yeah, not that important. But quality ideas, we've got some insane policies here. Economic, 5% discipline. Usually his policies aren't really that good there. Just gives you more prestige, a little bit. Maritime ideas, 20% morale name. That's actually really good. But again, I don't think you'll be taking maritime ideas because it's just, I don't think it's a good idea group. But I don't honestly. I just don't think it's that good. Expansion ideas, you get leader fire, which is really good. But again, I don't think you'll be taking expansion ideas. Maybe you will. Depends on what country you are. But it's also military policy, so you know, there are better ones than that. What I'm saying. With espionage, 1% yearly armory tradition decay, which is really good. But espionage ideas, another one of those things that just you're probably not gonna end up taking. It's not the worst idea in the game by any means, but it's definitely not top 10. Innovative ideas, that's the main one here. 20% infantry combat ability. Talked about this when we started off with innovative ideas. That's really good. That's really useful. Trade efficiency with trade ideas, 20%. That's really good. Again, I think we talked about that one. So that's it. That's the 10 best idea groups. Obviously, in my opinion, some of these are pretty hard to argue with. Some of these just are better than other ones, straight up. But hopefully, you learned something from this. If you didn't, well then congrats. You know a lot about ideas. But this is more aimed towards people who don't know a lot about ideas and wanna take the best ideas, which I don't see why you wouldn't. So I think that's gonna be the end of this video. I don't think there's anything to talk about here. We will see you in the next video.